Hey guys, it's Ed. Welcome back to the kitchen. It's a new week, which means a new bunch of cookie recipes to test. Today's recipe also happens to be what I think is possibly the easiest recipe we're going to be testing this whole series. Today's recipe is gonna be from Tara O'Brady's beautiful book, 7 Spoons, and it's her recipe for classic chocolate chip cookies. And this recipe exploded on the internet, and sadly I've been meaning to make it for a long time, but I haven't quite got around to it. So today we're gonna try her recipe. The ingredients in this recipe are very standard chocolate chip cookie ingredients, as most of the recipes in this series use, but there is one big difference, and that is the butter. The butter's melted, which means it's so much easier to make. There's no mixer, there's no equipment really other than a spatula, a whisk and a large bowl. So let's talk about chocolate choice for a second. So I am using Guittard chocolate wafers because I really love the way they melt. Now in this recipe, Tara calls for chocolate bars that have been chopped up, but the reason I like the wafers for this recipe is mainly ease. A, the bag is the exact amount of chocolate that Tara calls for, but also I can be a little bit lazy sometimes, and the benefit of having the wafers is they don't need chopping. They're the perfect kind of disc size for the cookies, and also because they're nice and thin, they melt beautifully into the cookie. So you end up with layers of dough and melted chocolate, and for me, it makes the perfect chocolate chip cookie. So all we're gonna need for this recipe is unsalted butter, plain all-purpose flour, baking powder, baking soda, salt, light brown sugar and caster sugar, 2 large eggs, vanilla extract, and of course, chocolate. So as I said at the start of the video, this is incredibly easy. It's basically mixing your wet into your dry. So the first thing we're gonna do is take our unsalted butter and melt that over low heat. We're not looking to brown it in this recipe, we just want to melt it, so a low heat is perfect. Meanwhile, we need to work on our dry goods. So we're gonna take our plain flour, add to that our baking soda, our baking powder, and our salt. We're just gonna whisk that together. There's no need to sieve it. A good brief whisking just to combine everything nicely is perfectly fine. We're then gonna set that aside until needed. So once our butter's melted, we're gonna add that to a large bowl. And then to that, we're gonna add our 2 types of sugar, so caster and light brown. Then we're just gonna whisk that together until everything's nicely combined. It might look like it's gonna split for a little bit, but with enough whisking, it'll come together in a homogeneous mass. And then I'm gonna add our eggs, one at a time. Again, just whisking until nicely combined. And finally, we're gonna add our vanilla. At this point, we're gonna switch from our whisk, add the dry goods to the bowl, and then just fold that until it's combined. You don't need to mix it completely. A little bit of flour is fine, because then we're gonna add our chocolate. Now we're gonna add the whole bag of chocolate wafers, and then we're gonna fold that in to combine, which will mix in those last little bits of flour as well. At this point, the dough is ready to bake, or you can refrigerate it overnight as well if you want to prepare in advance. So what we're gonna do is line 2 baking sheets with parchment paper, preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So once our dough is ready, we're gonna roll that into balls that are roughly about 3 tablespoons in size. Place those onto a parchment-lined baking tray, leaving them at a good couple of inches apart, as they will spread a lot as they bake. The cookies are then gonna go in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes, just until starting to go lightly golden around the edges and on top. But the middles should still be really nice and soft, because we want that beautiful soft texture in the middle of the cookies. So once the cookies have been in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes, they'll be really nice and golden brown, but still really nice and soft and fudgy on the middle. And we just need to leave them to cool before we can dig in. So the finished cookies are beautiful and soft in the middle, full of delicious chocolate. So the last thing we need to do is try the cookie, because these look delicious. So I really like how the dough is still nice and soft, but there's a little crisp on the outside, and the chocolate really works with that layering of dough and chocolate, I'd say so far this is the closest I've got to my ultimate chocolate chip cookie, but I think I want a little bit more texture on the outside, and I really want to push that salt flavor a little bit, but these are delicious. As always, the recipe is up in the corner, and if you have a favourite chocolate chip recipe that I haven't covered so far in the series, leave me a comment down below because I would love to know what that is, and maybe we'll make a season 2. Don't forget to come back on Thursday where we will have a recipe 2 this week. It's another delicious recipe, so make sure you come and check it out. I'm off to eat more of these because they are so good, and I'll see you next time.